There you go. Now we're recording. So hello, everybody. Welcome. So we're just going to give it one more minute and then we're going to get started right on time because in Calgary, it's already almost 8 o'clock. So we want to make sure our special guest is not staying up late.
It's almost my bedtime. How do you know?
It's almost your bedtime. Yeah. I guess is that one of the good things about being in Calgary, you're 1 hour ahead. Or maybe that's a good thing or not so good thing.
Yeah, it's not a bad thing. You get used to it.
Okay. All right. So how's our audio? Can everybody hear us? Can you give us a thumbs up or raise your hands or put on the chat? Q&A. Let's see. We have, yeah, you can hear us. Hi, everyone. Hi, Kuya Arnold from Surrey. Hi, Edith from Surrey. Welcome to our information session with regards to Calgary. All right, it's 7 o'clock, so we'll get started. Welcome, everybody. My name is Katrina. I'm around with Katrina and the team at RE/MAX 2000, and we have Neil and Cassandra is from our team. And of course, our special guest, Justin Havre. Thank you so much for joining us and taking the time to share Calgary with us. Just a little bit about Justin. Justin is one of our good friends, a really, really amazing mentor to us. And he is the leader of the #1 real estate team, RE/MAX team in Canada. And also he is very much, I wanted to say he's the mayor of Calgary. No offense to the mayor of Calgary. But first we encountered Calgary. We encountered Justin first, actually, when we went to Calgary for a real estate conference. And we were in the airport. I'm like, who's this guy? Like his face is all over the airport, like pretty crazy. There's a little bit of jealousy at that time. We're like, how can he do that? And we didn't know you yet. It's been like, I would say that was about probably at least maybe 5 to 8 years ago. And then we met Justin at one of the RE/MAX awards a few years before the pandemic. This fellow was the #1 RE/MAX realtor team leader in Canada, and he was on his crutches. And I'm like, how can he do that? So anyway, lo and behold, he's a really amazing guy and very, very generous with his time, with his knowledge, and with his skills as far as building the team and being a leader. He is also based out of Calgary, and we'll share more about what Justin knows about Calgary and about his team. At the end of the webinar, you'll see a little bit more about him and his team. Meanwhile, he's here to share what Calgary is about. Now, before I do that, just wanted to give a little bit of a disclaimer. We're not asking everybody to move out of the Metro Vancouver area. We have recently been receiving quite a lot of inquiry from a lot of our past clients, our friends. We're getting phone calls from people. Katrina, we want to sell our house. We want to move to Calgary. Okay, I'm like, what's happening in Calgary? Why do people want to move in Calgary? We were curious. And we also figured there's also a lot of our clients asking about investing in Calgary. Like, to buy a property in Calgary, you can buy so much more of a property in Calgary compared to what you can buy here in Metro Vancouver. So we decided, why not kind of like figure out what's really happening. So what's up with Calgary? Justin, welcome, and thank you for joining us tonight.
Well, first and foremost, thank you for having me here with you this evening, and it's truly an honor. And I'm happy to share about Calgary, and it does seem like not only people from Vancouver, but people from all over the country wants to move to Calgary, and that has definitely been our experience so far this year. And we have the Alberta is Calling campaign that the Alberta government is promoting out in Vancouver, and to the Ontario market as well. And I will just start sharing my screen here with you guys. Give me 2 seconds here. You guys can see my slideshow here.
I can see it.
All right, so really, Alberta is calling. We know that truly there's only one place to live in Alberta, and that is Calgary. Edmonton is a little bit colder. They have a team that won some Stanley Cup in the 80s, but we can talk about that another time. Myself, I have lived in Calgary since 1988. My family immigrated to Canada and to Calgary, and this has been home ever since. And you know, some of the things that we want to obviously share with you about Calgary, if you don't already know, is, you know, we've been ranked the number 3 world's most livable city. And, you know, we're only 50 minutes away from the beautiful Rocky Mountains. And it's ranked number 3 as the most diverse city in Canada. And I know that it's about to be winter for everyone here in Canada. And I know that it gets pretty gray in Vancouver with lots of rain. And one thing to keep in mind is that Calgary has on average 333 days of sunshine. So, you know, we enjoy the sunshine a lot. And, you know, yeah, we do get snow. It does get cold sometimes. And we also get the Chinooks that come across the Rocky Mountains, which do tend to give us a break from, you know, the deep freeze that we all feel here in parts of Canada. As many of you may know, there's no provincial sales tax in Alberta. And the average residential rent in Alberta in itself, this is all from the Alberta's Calling campaign, is $1,266 a month. Again, affordability is something that has been driving a lot to our province. We also have a very low fuel tax at 4.5 cents. We pay less at the pumps, and I've heard from friends that go to Vancouver or live in Vancouver that the gasoline prices are high. Alberta also has the highest personal income per capita across Canada at just under 60,000. We pay less taxes here because there's no provincial sales tax. And another thing that you may want to keep in mind is that when you purchase a property here in this province, there is no land transfer tax whatsoever. And you simply just pay to register the property and the mortgage on the property, and the cost for that is typically in and around $1,500 to $2,000, depending on your mortgage amount. We obviously have a lot more disposable income here in Alberta as well. 41,252 is the average household disposable income. Some of the key sectors, obviously, Alberta is known for, you know, our energy and resources. We also have environmental sectors that creates a lot of jobs, technology, and this has actually been an area where the city of Calgary actually has the economic development has done a lot to attract technology companies from all over to relocate their headquarters here to Calgary. And it's really starting to take a lot of momentum. We have financial services, creative industries, life sciences, aerospace, logistics. So we also have an Amazon center that's being built right now as we speak as well. And they're going to start recruiting here beginning of next year. So again, more than just oil and gas in the city of Calgary for jobs. Our unemployment rate as of October is sitting at 5.5%. And Calgary is placed 28th among the top 50 North American markets in the CBRE scoring for tech talent report. So again, a lot of people moving here because of the opportunities in the technology sector. And Calgary companies will lead with a $20 billion spend on digital transformation in Alberta between 2021 and 2024. So again, huge investment into our economy when it comes to that. I was talking to Neil and Katrina yesterday, and one of the things that came to light is that, and I wasn't aware of this, that for people that live in the Vancouver area, you guys have to pay a fee in order to have your children going to a Catholic school. Now, here in Calgary, you don't have to pay additional tuition fees in order to have your children going to a Catholic school. And when you do own a property here in Calgary, you actually can choose which school system your property taxes can go and support. So you could have them support either public or Catholic or both. And that is a choice that you have as a homeowner. A little bit about Calgary. I mean, Calgary is known as, a very large city. We are, if you want to look at the sprawl of the city of Calgary, it is actually one of the largest cities in North America. I believe it's Los Angeles that's only bigger than Calgary when it comes to how far we stretch out. But if you want to look at some of the benefits of the inner cities, we have over 1,000 kilometers of paved pathways, one of North America's largest pathway system. If you are into mountain biking, I don't think I will ever try this, but there's a Great Divide mountain bike route, which is over 3,000 miles. It starts in Banff, which is, 45 minutes west of Calgary, and it ends up in New Mexico. And one of the things I will say, having traveled quite a bit myself, visiting cities all over North America and the world, and coming home to Calgary, one of the things that I appreciate as a Calgarian is how clean our city is. It is one of the cleanest cities in the world, and you may want to see that for yourself when you come and visit. Again, back keeping on the inner city theme here, we have many parks and green spaces throughout the city. Some of the favorite parks would be Bonus Park, which is located along the Bow River, where many people will, in the wintertime, they will go down there and go skating. And in the summertime, picnics, barbecues. We also have Fish Creek Park, which is in the south end of the city. Again, many trails and nature reserve where you can go and really enjoy the outdoors within the city. And if you're downtown, we have Princess Island Park, which is a park that is situated in the middle of the river, where we have many festivals and concerts and so on in the summertime, with lots of festivities just off of the Eau Claire Market. Some of the things you can do in our city, I mean, you can go to the Heritage Park Historical Village, where, they really give you the journey through the history of the region here with the heritage buildings. You have the Inglewood Bird Sanctuary and a nature center. And while you're just down there, you also have the Bow Habitat Station and Sam Livingston Fish Hatchery. Again, there's some of the things to do in and around the city here, downtown. One of the things I will say is downtown Calgary has a different feel than Vancouver or Toronto. For some people, it may seem that it's very quiet downtown Calgary when it comes from nightlife in comparison to other major cities. However, we have many great amenities downtown with over 1,000 retail stores, and there are just about 3,600 businesses located downtown. We have 200 plus art galleries, public art, historical buildings, and shopping malls. And back to how it can get a little cold in the wintertime. One of the things that's really unique about the Calgary downtown area is we have a plus 15 pathway network, which basically is about 16 kilometers of pathway system between all the buildings downtown. And people can go to the mall, they can go to their office, they can go visit another company in another office building, all walking through this plus 15 pathway system, all indoors. If you like to go out, we do have a nightlife here in Calgary. And if you like fine dining and are a foodie, we have 25 of the top 100 restaurants in Canada here in the city. So there's always some great food if you want to take in a night out or a date night or host some friends. We are well known for Stampede Week. It's pretty much where everybody in Calgary will pull out their cowboy gear and pretend to be a cowboy for about 10 days. And, again, it's family outing where, kids go and enjoy all the rides and the festivities. And you also have, adults that have a lot of fun as well. If you like shopping, many great shopping malls. You have Cross Iron Mills, which is an outlet mall with over 200 stores. We have the Calgary Zoo, which is downtown. And if you are going to the Calgary Zoo, just across the parking lot there's in Inglewood, there's a really good hamburger place called Inglewood Inn. Highly recommend you check it out. It's some of the best hamburgers in the city. Calgary, we have we're very, very fortunate to be located where we are, because we are literally 45 minutes away from the mountains, and that is our backyard where, if you like hiking mountains, you can do that. If you like to go on trails, I mean, there's a never ending amount of trails and hikes that you can go on. And if you want to go up to some of the most scenic areas in our province and perhaps in our country, you can go to Lake Louise and Moraine Lake. Moraine Lake is probably one of the most photographed lakes in the world. You can go skating up there as well on many lakes. And if you are someone who likes to go skiing and snowboarding, we have world-class resorts. We have Sunshine Village, which is about 45 minutes away from the west end of the city, and Lake Louise is about an hour and a half drive. And we have many other resorts as well that are smaller. So you can go to Nakiska, which is about 30 minutes away. And it's actually a very family-friendly resort if you like to go skiing there. And we also have Canada Olympic Park, which is within the city limits, a little ski hill. You can go there as well. I think one of the things that we all got to appreciate a lot more because of the pandemic and the travel restrictions was, all the amazing places that we have within our own country. And, let's call them vacations. If you go to Banff and you stay at the Fairmont Banff Hotel, incredible hotel, again, an hour away from the city. If you want to have a relaxing weekend, you can go to the Kananaskis Nordic Spa, which is, again, about 40 minutes outside of the city. And if you're into glamping, we got the Sundance Lodges. And if you want to really go camping, you can go camping in the Kananaskis country. And for example, one place would be Tujack Lake. So Calgary has many communities, obviously, and there's many different areas. And if you are considering relocating to Calgary, looking at Calgary for a place to live because of affordability and what you can get, obviously, you would want to ensure that you select the right place for you and your family. And I'm just going to touch on a few different areas of the city. One really sought after area is the West Hills area, which is on the west end of the city. This consists of many communities such as Cougar Ridge, West Springs, Springbank Hill, Aspen Woods, Signal Hill, and Discover Ridge, Coach Hill, Strathcona, all kind of in this little pocket. And it's probably one of the more desirable areas in the city. And what drives people up here is, one, the easy commute to get to the mountains. It's also only 15 to 20 minutes to get to downtown Calgary. We have many private schools in this area as well, which, drives a lot of people to live here. And if you like mountain views, this is probably one of the areas of the city, including Northwest Calgary, where you will see a lot of amazing mountain views if you want to have that as the view out your back window. If you're into lake living, we have that in Calgary as well. And many of these lakes are man-made lakes. And one of the lakes in Southeast Calgary is Mahogany Lake, which is basically a lake that has 63 acres, 2 private beaches. You also have 74 acres of wetland and 22 kilometers of paved pathways, and 65 acres of open space within the community for playgrounds and parks. So let's kind of touch a little bit on affordability. And this has been really something that has been in the works for quite a while, because the Calgary real estate market, we saw a bit of some economic challenges here when the energy prices collapsed back in 2014, 2015. And that really helped drive our house prices down, where we had some really economic challenges. And it stayed pretty affordable during those times with not a lot of upward pressure on pricing. Now, the pandemic obviously saw a lot of home prices increase significant across many of the major cities across Canada. Now, in Calgary, we did not see as much of an uptick as in some of these other cities. I know in the Toronto area, some of the prices there went up by over 50%. And to give you a kind of a comparison, Calgary saw about 15% in a year. So we're still, we didn't grow as much, but at the same time, we were very affordable, where a single family detached home in September of this year was going on an average for $628,000. For $362,000, you can get yourself a townhouse. And for just under $280,000, you can get yourself a apartment. Now, in comparison to your prices, I would struggle with these prices myself, or just under 2 million for a detached home, just over $1 million for a townhouse, and just over 700,000 for a condominium. You can obviously clearly see that there's some big differences in affordability there. Now, give you a little bit of context here. So on the left here, you see basically an area map of Calgary, and how Calgary is broken down when it comes to real estate is different zones. So you have the north zone up north, northwest, west, which is the West Hills area that I was telling you about. You have the south, southeast, east, and then you have the city center. Now you have bedroom communities around Calgary, which has also been very desirable. Airdrie is a community that has been very, very hot, which is about 10 minutes north of the city. Equal travel time from the northwest is Cochrane, where there's some pretty incredible panoramic mountain views from that community. Now, we have Canmore, which is 45 minutes west of the city on your way to Banff. And that is more of a vacation destination. And the prices up there are quite high because there's a lot of limitations on development out there. South of the city, you have Okotoks, which is a city of about 30,000 people. High River is further south of Okotoks. Then you have Chestermere, which is a lake community just west of the city. And then, further past Chestermere, you have Strathmore. So these are kind of the most sought after bedroom communities in and around Calgary. And you have a good little snapshot here of the price appreciation over the last 12 months in these areas. So what can you get here in Calgary? Well, I'm going to show you here a few examples. So here's an apartment, 845 square feet, 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom, 2 tidal parking spots in a community of Seton, which is in southeast Calgary. I don't even want to ask how much that would go for in Vancouver. And if you want to be in West Hillhurst, which is inner city, this property here sold for $350,000. That was 707 square feet, 1-bedroom, 1-bath with a tidal parking stall. You have Inglewood, which I mentioned earlier on, which is just outside of downtown and along the river. Here's an apartment that went for $377,000. That was just under 1,000 square feet, 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom, and a tidal parking stall and some pretty incredible amenities with a huge gym. Now, downtown Calgary for $432,000, 1,162 square foot, 2-bedroom, 2-bath condo with parking, tidal parking. You have here a community of Lakeview for $985,000, you get 2,252 square feet above grade with a fully developed basement, total of 4 bedrooms, 4.5 bathrooms, and a double detached garage for this one. Here's a property in Willow Park, renovated. It was a 4-level split, 1,183 square feet above grade, total of 4 bedrooms, 2.5 baths. And this one here sold for $700,000. Here you have an executive bungalow, which had 1,531 square feet on the main floor in the community of Legacy, which is again in the southeast, down by the, we got a big hospital down there. So this was 3 bedrooms, 2.5 bathrooms, and it was a walkout, and that sold for $1,015,000. Now, in and around Calgary, we do have acreages as well. And here's one in Prentice, and it was 4 acres, 2,300 square feet above grade, 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, and that sold for $1.25 million. Rent. Let's have a little conversation about that. Calgary is currently sitting with a 5.1% vacancy rate. And we are ranked, when it comes from the rental side, the 24th most affordable city in Canada when it comes to the rental market. The average price for a 1-bedroom here in September was $1,629, and the average 2-bedroom fetched $1,895. One of the things to kind of keep in mind here with Alberta is we have no rental controls when it comes to rent increases. Now, if you have someone that is in a month-to-month lease, you need to give them 90 days notice if you're going to give them a rate increase. If they are on an annual rental agreement, you have to just give them the notification that you're on the renewal date that the rates are going up. So there's no cap on percentages. It's more of a free market rental market. Now, comparing that to Vancouver, you guys are ranked first when it comes to non-affordability, and you have a 1.2% vacancy rate, and the average 1-bedroom is just under $2,600, and the average 2-bedroom is $3,700 a month. So you can see a huge difference there. Now, if you're going to buy an investment property in Calgary, at least you can make that cash flow positive. You know, you can get away with putting 20% down, and it's not going to be any expenses out of pocket because it will carry itself, which from an investment standpoint, it's going to be very, very hard to do in the Vancouver market. And again, the average rent increase, Calgary is sitting at 24.1% here year over year. And of course, the one thing that we have here in Calgary as well is we have the Calgary Flames. And yes, go Flames, go. And, you know, it's always a little bit of fun with the hockey. I know that if you want to have a winning team in the city, maybe that's a little too soon. The season is still young. You know, we have, again, NHL hockey as well here. So a lot of fun seeing all the Vancouver Canucks fans in our arena cheering for the Canucks when they come.
Well, I
That's
guess
it.
we can't really say anything about Canucks right now. Like you said, it's early. It's early in the season. We're just starting, so we'll see.
It's warming up, right?
Yeah, we'll see. Exactly. So before we get into the Q&A, thank you so much, Justin. It's really good to know and get that type of information because, you know, it's just very easy to say, if I sell my house here or my townhouse here in Metro Vancouver, we can just go buy a house in Calgary and be mortgage free. And a lot of our clients who reached out to us asking about Calgary, that's really one of the questions, right? So, but before we get on to some of the questions that everyone has, that most of you have, I'm just gonna share a little bit more about Justin and what they do. Just give me a second here.
Here's what we know. We know life is different here in Calgary. We know people here believe a house isn't a home until you place a bit of your heart and love into it. We know life isn't just about what you do for yourself, but what we do for others. It's about being a neighbor, the people you can turn to for a helping hand and a friendly smile. We know. We've been part of this city, this place we call home, for over 17 years. Justin Havre and Associates of Remax First was founded by one of your neighbors. We know our success is your success, whether it's buying your first house or finding your next dream home. We've seen young people mature, couples build their lives, and families grow. We built our success on the strength and hard work of a team of people with decades of experience. People who follow our proven home selling and marketing strategies to get you the best offer. Through it all, we believe that our clients come first, that we do what is best for them. This principle has made us the leading and most successful Remax team in the country. I'm Justin Havre, and these are my associates and my family.
Although we were selling in a really difficult time for real estate, we still ended up getting over.
That's not about you. So if you wanted to know, we're going to get to the questions, but for the most part, if you're interested in finding out more information about Calgary, I'll be sharing a link for you guys to check it. Actually, Cassandra will be typing that out on the chat here shortly. And we have some questions. So questions that I got. Oh, we have quite a bit of questions here. You can raise your hands or we can just go through the question. So one of the questions that we got here, Justin, is do we need to have a job? I'm not sure if this is really just for Justin, but do we need to have a job in Calgary for the lender to approve our loan?
So that is something that's come up quite often. And the people that have or can prove to the bank that they actually have a job that allows them to work remotely, the bank will obviously give you a mortgage if you can verify that through your employer. Typically, the bank will want to ensure that you have a job in Calgary in order for you to pay for that mortgage.
Mm-hmm. And what we've found is that the ones that we're working with who considered moving to Calgary, it's best to talk to your mortgage broker because the mortgage brokers can actually fund homes that are not necessarily in Metro Vancouver. They can help you get a loan for a property in Calgary. So talk to the bank. Not every situation is the same. There are some people who are transitioning. They don't want to move right away. They currently have a job here. Or some of our clients who decided to move to Calgary seek for employment first and look for a job. And then as soon as they secured a job, then they got an approval for their mortgage to move to Calgary. So, and again, it's not as for the ones who are selling their homes and wanting to move to Calgary to, maybe early retirement or be mortgage free. It's a good transition to make sure that, you don't necessarily need a mortgage. I guess you don't need one. But if you're first time, we also got people calling because they, instead of buying here, because it's so hard to get started as a first time home buyer, they're like, you know what? It's like, I'm feeling really defeated. I'm feeling hopeless about being able to buy a home in Vancouver or in Surrey. We're going to try out Calgary. And so we have clients who look for a job first and then ask for a mortgage approval. But if you don't want to take that path, always talk to a mortgage broker. Let us know. We can hook you up with a great mortgage broker as well.
Yeah, and that's a great insight there. I mean, yeah, if you're going to be purchasing a property with a mortgage, engage with your mortgage broker and Katrina and Neil for some guidance there, because, they want to set you up for success and ensure that, if you do have a mortgage, you may also want to see if that mortgage is portable so you can bring that mortgage to your home that you purchase here in Calgary.
Mm-hmm. Another question that we got here from, well, first off, thanks to Jonabel for asking that question. Marivic, Ate Marivic asked, how about a Christian school? Do you pay tuition fee?
Say that again.
How the Christian, well, so I asked you about Catholic school, but I mean, it's kind of the same. A Christian school is, I would say it's the same, right? Like they don't have to pay. It's like a religious school.
Yeah, you know what? That would be best to kind of check directly with them, but I haven't heard that are tuition fees for a Christian school. You know, and again, it really depends on the school that you want to go to, and I highly recommend you research that. As you know, you also want to make sure that if you're going to move into a community, just because that school may be in the community of that you're choosing to live in, you want to make sure that you can actually get your children into that school and that they have spots before you purchase the home as well, which is very, very important because some of the schools may already be full.
So there are capacities in the schools.
Yeah.
Good to know. Good to know. Thank you. From Liz, Calgary has the most expensive natural flooding disaster back in 2013. What are the measures being taken to prevent future flooding to accommodate newcomers and new residential real estate?
Yeah, we had the 100-year flood. I mean, all of downtown Calgary was underwater, and it was pretty surreal to experience. Now, what the Alberta government has done is they put in built a lot of levees in and around the river to ensure that you know, this doesn't happen again. And again, Mother Nature can do its thing, but they really just beefed up the shorelines around the river, and you can see the investment that the provincial government has made into ensure that this cannot happen again, although we never know if we get flooding like that again. But you know, aside from that, you know, there's certain properties that are in the flood zones, and you know, the homeowners, when they remediated these properties, they had certain stipulations on the properties as well, and they also have to disclose whether or not the property had extensive damage, and some houses even had to be rebuilt because of the flooding in 2013.
Awesome. I hope that answered the question, Liz. We have Lori V. Bolido asking, can we have a 5% down payment if our job still in BC? Planning to move there summer next year. Wow, that's exciting. I know a really awesome realtor.
So we have a team of advisors. We'll be happy to help. Again, you got to talk to your mortgage broker about that, because if you are going to be purchasing the property as, I'm going to assume, an investment for the time being and move here later on, you want to make sure that you have that conversation with your mortgage broker. But typically for an investment property, you need to put 20% down.
But if you're going to live there, if you're moving there, if you're going to move there right away, really better to talk to a mortgage broker. If it's an investment property, it's the same thing that applies here. If you're buying an investment property in Metro Vancouver, in BC, you would need 20% down payment. So, but if you're going to use it as principal residence, that's another story. And again, always good to talk to the mortgage broker. Thank you, Lori V, for the question. Neil, you're gonna check the next.
We have a question here from Kuya Joey. What is the typical strata fee for condos there?
The typical strata fee, I mean, it all depends on the amenities of the building. You know, for a 1-bedroom, I mean, you're looking in between $300 to $400. Again, depending on the amenities that the building has to offer, what it includes. If it includes, you know, heat, electricity, and all the utilities, it's going to be higher than where it doesn't.
So very similar to Vancouver. It depends on the operational cost, and yeah, that's what Justin says there, amenities and what strata has to offer there.
Yeah.
Another question from Thomas. Which part of the city is the most industrial, has the most industrial space? Like, he means manufacturer, research, and machinery.
the east end of the city.
Thank you. Is there another question there, Katrina?
Yeah, no, I was just trying to keep up with the that, so that we've answered that question from Thomas. But Tossin asked, for someone who doesn't live in Alberta, is it possible? I think we answered this question a little bit, but to answer it straight up, is it possible to buy an investment property there? What are the requirements?
You just have to have the bank approval and the down payment, and be Canadian as of January 1st.
Yeah.
So here in Calgary and in Alberta, I mean, we don't have any foreign home ownership tax. We don't have any secondary home tax. You know, as an Albertan, if I was to purchase a property in Vancouver or in BC, I would be subject to additional property taxes even, right? So we don't have any restrictions like that here.
Yeah, so here in Vancouver, in Metro Vancouver, if the property is not going to be, if it's empty, there's an empty home tax in Vancouver. And then in Metro Vancouver, there's a speculation tax. If the home is empty, you have to pay a speculation tax, meaning it's not your principal. You don't live there 6 months in a year. And so you don't have that in Alberta.
No.
And foreign buyer tax, we have foreign buyer tax here in BC, in Metro Vancouver, in some areas, but not in Alberta.
Correct.
But it's effective January 1st, wherever you are in Canada. If you're a foreign buyer, you can't buy a property in Canada. Alberta is still in Canada.
Still, yeah, for the time being,
Okay.
and we will always be part of Canada.
Yeah. So, Tossin, you can buy an investment property in Alberta, as long as you're Canadian or a resident of Canada. There are requirements, meaning if you mean mortgage requirements, again, talk to the mortgage broker. If you don't have one, let us know. We can connect you with an awesome mortgage broker who can guide you about the requirements. Basically, mortgage requirements is applicable pretty much in all of Canada. It's the same thing, but properties, the requirements of purchasing a property, basically it's just having the capacity to be able to purchase the property. And you want to buy in Calgary, you're free to buy a home in Calgary, and I'm sure Justin and his team of advisors will be more than happy to assist you. So that has been answered. Thomas has another question.
Okay.
Hey, thanks for the news. I would like to ask, what is the average air quality during summer compared to Vancouver? Another question is there some difference in strata fees in compared to Vancouver, which we answered that question already. What is the average strata per square foot? I think it's the strata fee question as well. I think that depends on the strata. So I think we answered that question, but air quality. Yeah, we had some air quality issues here before the rain started coming. We had some air quality issues here in Vancouver a few weeks ago. Tell us about the air quality in Calgary, Justin.
So was that air quality due to forest fires by any chance?
Yeah.
Well, you know, that's one thing that I don't think any of us can get away from. When there's some big forest fires in BC, we tend to get some of the smoke here as well. It really depends on which way the wind is blowing, and you know, sometimes it can get pretty bad, but at the same time, you know, overall the air quality here is quite exceptional.
Awesome.
When there's no forest fires. This year, it was amazing. Yeah.
I guess that.
And unfortunately, you know, again, Mother Nature is something that we can't control.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
question, Justin, here, in regards, I know we had a conversation yesterday about property management. I know you and your advisors don't do property management, but if we are investing in Calgary from people here in Metro Vancouver, is there a trusted property manager that you could refer them to, or do you know anyone in that?
Yeah, we definitely have partners that we can connect you with there to ensure that you have somebody managing a property, you know, screening applicants and taking care of that whole process of your investment.
And would they take care of, attend to any tenants' concerns? And the other question to follow up with that is, what is the property management rate? Are you familiar with that?
The property management rate, I believe what they charge is about 10% to manage the property. And yes, they will handle any issues with a tenant, repairs, maintenance, that kind of stuff that comes up.
Thank you.
Before we get to the next question, just wanted to share this link with everybody. I just put it on the chat. If in case, you know, some people may have to go, but if you want to know more about Calgary and connect with one of Justin's associates, if you want to just have us answer some of your questions that you might think about later on, save the link that I just shared on the chat and put your name in so we can connect with you, and would be happy to do so. I'll also be sharing my screen quickly here just before we answer the next question. You can take a, oh, it didn't work. Sorry, just a second. That didn't work. Share screen. What is this? There you go. Did you, if you got, do you see the, does everyone see the QR code? Okay. So just scan this QR code for more information about Calgary. I'll show it again shortly. I just wanted to be kind of like plug that in there quickly. So from Catherine Chan, which is the best areas for retirees?
Best area for retirees. Again, that depends on the lifestyle that you want to live. You know, we have retirement housing throughout the city. You know, down in Southeast Calgary, we have Westmans Village, which is a newer development with many great amenities. You know, and again, lakeside living. If you want to live inner city, there's many complexes, you know, retirement villas. It's really up down to personal needs and wants. And, you know, when you connect with Katrina and Neil, and they can put you in touch with us, and we will make sure that, you know, you sit down with one of our advisors and kind of go through what your requirements and needs and what's on your wish list. And we will, you know, find what's best suited for you and the lifestyle that you want to live.
Awesome. Where should we go in Calgary, right? So, all right. Thanks, Lori V, for your comment. We have a question from an anonymous attendee. What do you think is the 6-month outlook for house prices in Calgary? How much of an increase or a decrease? Should we move from our province to Calgary? Just thinking of logistics being an out-of-province move, how early from the actual move date can we start selling our place? So that's a multi-part question. We'll start with the first part, Justin.
Well, you know, I think it's, you know, and it's an interesting environment for real estate across the country. You know, we're obviously seeing some pretty drastic impact of the higher interest rates in the major metropolitan centers, you know, like Toronto and Vancouver. Now, Calgary has really been, you know, the shining star of the Canadian real estate market during these rate increases, where our market has continued on quite strong. If we were to look at, you know, the sales in the Calgary market here in the last week, we have seen more homes sell than new inventory has come on. And our inventory levels are still 24% below historical averages. So we have still very tight supply. We're still seeing competing offers, although the competing offers aren't necessarily unconditional. Buyers can, you know, put in their terms and conditions and so forth. But, you know, depending on the property and the community and the product that you're looking at, our market is still very, very active. We are starting to see a bit of a slowdown in the single family detached segment and a semi-detached segment. But if you were to look at townhouse and apartment sector, that sector is, the sales are up considerably over last year. And that's more of a, again, price point because of the higher interest rate environment. Where are the prices going to be in 6 months? I wish I had, you know, yesterday's newspaper. tomorrow, right? So, nobody has a crystal ball, but I do foresee that, there's nothing that I see on the horizon that's going to indicate that our economy is going to crash here in Calgary. We still have a very strong, energy sector, which is typically the driving force behind the real estate market in Alberta. Now, our economy is becoming more diverse, so we're not going to see the massive swings that we've seen before, and with hopes of a more balanced economy. So I still think there's going to be a little bit of, or I'm going to say, opportunities in certain price points to acquire a property. Now, when it comes to timing the move, I think this is where it's important to have, working with Katrina and Neil and our team, where we can have then synergy between the two parties to ensure that the transition goes smoothly, because you may want to list your house first with Katrina and Neil, ensure that you have, also at the same time, an idea of what you want to purchase in Calgary. And so that we can then kind of mesh up the closing dates the best that we can, so there's not too much of an overlap or delay in between the closing dates. And,
Yeah.
moving is stressful. There's no two ways about it. Whether you're moving interprovincially or within the city, it is something that requires a lot of planning, and it requires also some professional guidance, because it is stressful, and we can help alleviate a lot of that.
Yeah, so we've had a lot of families whom we help through the transition, and it's really important to connect so we can sit down with you, go over your specific situation, your specific need, so then we can have a plan. You have options. There's always options. And what we do is we go over your different options, and then we create a plan that's comfortable for you and that's suitable to your specific needs. So reach out to us, let us know. The consultation is a complimentary. Our advisors, our team partners, myself, as a team, as a group, we collaborate in order to make sure that we can provide you with a customized plan that's suitable to your needs. So, that's a really good question. Now, I think one of the questions too is that, in my mind, that question is like, and I get this a lot here, I'm sure you get this a lot there, when is the best time to move in Calgary? Like, sometimes people ask this question from a context of, do prices go down in the winter or in the summer, or is it better to move in the spring? I mean, is it good to move there now with snow coming? Although life circumstances can happen at any time, but if you have control over when you're going to move, when would be the best time to move to Calgary?
And that's a great question. I think that also really comes down to what's your objective, right? If you want to take advantage of an opportunity, you want to and get the best price, you may want to look at purchasing when there's less activity in the marketplace, right? And when do we see that here in most markets? Well, it's, in the winter months is typically when there's less people making a move. Now, obviously, people like to move more in the spring and summertime, and that's typically also when we see the more activity. And that means you also have more competition, and you may also be paying a higher price for the property. So it really comes down to what you want. If you want to have the convenience of moving in the summertime, you don't want to deal with the snow and the slush and the cold stuff. It probably gonna have some movers help you so they can freeze. But it's again comes down to what your objective is. If you want to have price, I would say you purchase when there's less competition, if that is your main objective.
Thank you for answering that question. I hope that answered your question on whoever the anonymous question attendee is. Anne Villanueva says, what is the safest community in Calgary, and what community should we avoid looking for a property?
Safest community. I mean, what I think the reality is that everybody that lives in a city, there's going to be some sort of crime and stuff in every community. It's something that no one can really control. Now, obviously, if you are living more in the suburbs, there's going to be less crime and criminal activity than in some of the inner city communities, where some of the communities in the downtown core, like East Village, there's a homeless shelter there. However, it's pretty safe. I walk around there too. We volunteer at the drop-in center here in Calgary, and I don't feel threatened in any shape, way, or form when I park my vehicle and walk to the drop-in center. So really, there's many great areas, and as a Calgarian, I feel safe pretty much everywhere in the city.
Thank you. Another question from Liz. For a detached 2-level house, what is an average utility? I guess it depends on the number of people living there, but heat, water, gas, cost per month. Is the utility cheaper in Calgary?
It really depends on how many people live in the house and what you keep your temperature at, all that stuff, right? But I'd say typically anywhere from $300 to $500, depending on, again, how much gas and electricity you use. It really depends if you have air conditioning cranked and you like to keep it at 19 degrees in the summertime, or if you like to keep the heat at 27 degrees in the wintertime. It all depends. And if you have a hot tub, if you have a heated garage, all those things play a factor.
Cool.
A question from Esperanza. What are the jobs that has the most demand, or what's the jobs that more in demand in Calgary right now?
I mean, right now, I would say there's a lot of opportunities in the tech sector. A lot of companies are hiring for that. And, engineers seem to always have a job when it comes to the oil and gas industry as well. So many sectors. I would just recommend you go on Indeed and look at what jobs are available in your specific field that you work in, and that will kind of shine a light on that.
Yeah. So are there there's the hospitals, right? Are there a lot? Is there a shortage of healthcare workers in Calgary?
I would say that there's probably a shortage of healthcare workers anywhere in the country right now. I think obviously with the unfortunate things that we had to experience here, there was a lot of pressure on the healthcare system, and I think there's been a few people that have left the healthcare industry after that experience, and they need to replace those people.
Awesome.
We'll go for probably one more question.
A couple more questions. We have 3 minutes here, and we wanted to go and answer as many of the questions. So one of we're doing our best to get through here. Oh, is it true, from Joey Pilar, is it true that the price of oil dictates economy or the number of moving in and moving out of Calgary in terms of vacancy rate?
There's some truth to that. We've obviously, when we had the economic downturn in 2015, we saw a lot of people leave the province. We saw a lot of people also leave the energy sector. Now we are having a massive massive amount of people moving into Calgary, and there's not a lot of hiring in the energy sector. One thing that they have learned since the last downturn is, really focusing on operating very lean and not growing as fast as they did before. So the people that are migrating to Calgary right now are coming here for jobs in other sectors than the energy sector. And, I think that, the Calgary economic development here has done a really good job over the last few years to really work on attracting other companies to, move their headquarters to Calgary. Big focus has been on the technology sector. And, Amazon is coming here as well. And, we have, many opportunities. And it's actually very exciting for myself to see that we're diversifying our economy and not just solely being focused on oil and gas.
Good. The other question here, that maybe the last question that we can answer, is from Christopher. What type of public transit does Calgary provide, i.e. light rail, SkyTrain?
So we have what we call a C train. And the C train is basically a network that goes throughout the city. We have, you can go from south to northwest to the northeast, all through downtown and from the west end as well. And obviously we have, public transit such as buses, but we don't have a SkyTrain per se, but we call it a C train. And there are some portions of it that go underground and also above ground on, I guess you could kind of call it a SkyTrain in some of those areas.
Yeah. Well, so we just one more question here. I see a couple questions about appreciation rate. We have like 7:59, figured 1 minute. Looking at the map, one of your side, can you account for the difference in pricing increase in Calgary? In another word, why the north area increased by 15.9%, but city center only 5.3% versus other areas? That's from Diana Tran.
It comes down to affordability. Obviously, houses in the inner city are more expensive. And, there's, if you're looking at houses priced over $1 million, there are less buyers for that here in this marketplace. And if you look at the Northeast, Southeast, those communities have more affordable housing. And that's why you see those increases there.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Justin, for sharing information about Calgary. We figured, we don't want people to move out of Metro Vancouver. But if we can't stop you and you really want to go to Calgary, you might as well make an informed decision. And why not get it from the one who knows Calgary best? And Calgary, we're going to visit soon. We're curious about those 25 restaurants out of the 100, top 100 in Canada. So we're curious about them. So we might just hop on. I checked today. No, not today. I checked for a flight for today because we considered going there today and just shooting this live. And I checked WestJet a couple of weeks ago. It's like $60 to go to Calgary one way. I'm like, maybe that's a good way to spend instead of the rain. Yeah, I'm not sure if it's sunny there today, but
it's sunny. We had a little bit of snow here about a week ago, and it's all melted. And one of the things that I will say, first and foremost, thank you so much for having me on here with you guys today, and some great questions. Now, what I would recommend you do, if it is something that you are considering and maybe you're curious about, contact Katrina and Neil, book an appointment with them, have them come over and give you an evaluation of your home in the current market condition and what you could get there. That way you can now make an informed decision on whether or not a move would be feasible for you and your family. And obviously Katrina and Neil will guide you and give you advice of what is best for you, for you and your family. And then you can make that informed decision. And obviously Calgary, we will welcome anyone that wants to move here.
And visit.
And visit.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Justin, and everyone. Thank you so much. For some of you who have some questions there that has not been answered, we'd love to answer them for you. So what we're going to do, if you can please just send us a message, scan the QR code, send us a message. Well, if you have your name on the question, we'll reach out to you and answer your question. Other than that, enjoy the rest of your evening. Reach out if you have any questions with regards to real estate. We're here to help you. We want to make a positive impact in our community, and we're looking forward to seeing you all again soon. Take care.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.